All right, Liz, you just took the exam. How did it go? What'd you score?
I scored above target in every single category. So I am pumped.
That is awesome. That is cool. So we haven't known each other that long. Do you know? I know exactly how long it's been. Do you know how long it's been?
I think like exactly a month or like just shy of a month, like 3 weeks.
I think it's just shy of a month. So
Yep.
from the whole thing. So you went from what, like zero to the PMP in a month? Is that right? Like, did you know anything before you started studying?
Yeah. So kind of to like preface my story a little bit, I actually ended up in this boat because I failed the PMP on my first attempt. And um, I thought I was ready for it, and I took the PMP, and it was like a smack in the face. And I was really discouraged, and I was like, I got to do this. I got to pick myself back up, find a way to move ahead, and found you guys and the accelerator, and turned it right back around. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. And so what about, so you did talk to me about like what was different, like the pre-accelerator studying versus the accelerator studying, if you would.
So pre-accelerator, I didn't really have a guide. I was kind of just on my own to figure out, what I knew and what I didn't know. Um, and the accelerator acted as a framework for me to kind of hit that reset button and say, okay, what am I good at? What do I already know? And what do I definitely need to improve on? And it kind of cut out a lot of that time of just like floundering on my own and not knowing um, what to get to and what to study and what would help me be successful.
That's awesome. All right, cool. And so there's a couple different components of the accelerator as you walk through. Like there's the videos and the guides of the 7 modules or 7 days that go through and kind of simplify things. And then there's also the coaching calls, the big ones with me and the small ones with the group. Talk to me about one of those. Like which one made a big difference for you? Like the coaching calls or the videos? We're gonna talk
So
about
I
both, but what do
think
you think?
I mean both were super important, I think, in success, but I think the real driver was the community of the coaching calls. So I found a lot of people who would encourage me to, to keep going and get through stuff. And we'd chat through the questions and answers and trying to figure out, okay, why did I get this one wrong? What about this answer did I pick that didn't work? And just having that sense of community. I had other people taking the exam, in the weeks, the week or so before I took mine, that seeing them pass and make it through was super encouraging for me. I'm like, oh, well, if Renee did it, if Sunita did it, then like obviously I can do it too. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. I am muting on my side because there's work going on. So I'm trying to like keep that down a little bit. So don't worry about it. And so cool. So yeah, the part of like seeing other people succeed, did that help you know when you were ready? Cause you were like, yo, I see them do it and I can do it. And I can.
that definitely helped. So from week to week on the coaching calls, you would see different familiar faces come back. You'd see new people pop into your coaching group. You'd see, you'd get an update from your coach that's like, hey, guess what? This person passed. They're not with us anymore. And you're like, oh man, like, but I liked them. They were part of what was keeping me going. Um, and then you find that confidence, and you start to be that person in the group that's like, hey, I've got this, and people are looking to you for that encouragement. And then you get to be the person who's like, that's, I did it. I'm moving on. So
Nice.
next up.
That's awesome. That's cool. So big change from pre to like during the accelerator, and it built you up. Now, at what point did you know? I talked a little bit about it. But was there a point, or was there a thing that went on where you were like, I know exactly that I'm ready? Was there anything like that in your mind, or no?
I think there was a point on, it was probably like my second to last coaching call, going through with like our small group coaching call, and we were discussing through several of the questions, and our group coach was like, you know what, you guys, you're right. Like, you've picked this question apart and you've really got it down. And a couple of us were like, yeah, we know what we're talking about. Like, we've got this PMP thing down. So it was after that where I actually felt confident enough to go and schedule my test.
That is awesome. And then like, so what did you do beforehand? Did you do a boot camp before, or did you do an online course? You study for yourself? Like, what did you actually do?
So I did in probably 2 months ago. I did a boot camp
Mhm.
and it was all online. Sorry, I have a dog in the
It's
background
okay.
too. um, did a boot camp all online and didn't really get a lot of direction out of it. And just kind of got like, oh, I need to take some quizzes and do some studying on my own. But I didn't really understand what I retained and what I didn't retain.
Mhm.
So it was really hard for me to determine what I actually needed to study. Because it's like, okay, read the PMBOK. Oh, okay. Like, because I have time to do that. Like, I'm super busy. I've got, full-time project management job. I'm also in grad school. I'm a parent. Like, I have a lot going on. So just having people be like, oh yeah, just, memorize all this stuff and read the PMBOK and it'll all work out. It's, it doesn't work that way. Um, so this method of, focus and determining like the best way forward and having a community of people to help guide you through that process and kind of walk alongside with you was definitely super helpful for me.
That's really, really good. I'm glad. And we could see, like, I could tell early, I probably knew before you knew that it was like, oh, she's got it. She's picking it up. She's always jumping in there. And I could always see like your face. You'd be like, like, or no, no, no. Like you were like, when people were talking, I was like, all right, what do you think? Like, what's your opinion on this one? But I think that's part of the good part about the coaching calls is because it's a relaxed environment and we're just attacking the question, not the person. So we're going in and trying to understand it there.
Yeah.
Now, what was exam day like? Now, talk me through kind of like the contrary. Did you feel confident the first time you failed? No big deal, but like,
So I thought I was confident the first time I took it, and I definitely like shouldn't have been. Um, but this time around, I was a little bit. I was comfortable. I don't know if I'd say I was like super confident, but when I woke up, um, exam morning, I was like, okay, like I know what I'm doing. Like I've studied. Um, I don't have anything to worry about. Like this is just like I'm sitting down and going through the questions with everybody else in my group. So I kind of pretended like I'm back in that situation with all of my other, buddies studying through these PMP questions and just attacked them all like we would attack them on our coaching calls. And it was a breeze. I didn't even realize like how far into it I was at one point. I was like, oh, what question am I on? Because it just was like so routine answering the questions.
and you got 5 above targets.
I got 5 above targets.
What was it when you failed? Like, how bad did you do?
So I got below target in initiating, planning, and executing. And I got above target in monitoring and controlling and closing the first time I took it. And that's, I think, because a lot of my practical project management experience, a lot of time is spent doing the monitoring and controlling and closing
Right.
type activities. So I like, for me, that was really easy to pick up, but some of the other aspects, especially like planning schedules, planning costs, doing a lot of the executing things that in my professional life, we have people whose job it is specifically to do those things where I'm not handling it all the time. I wasn't as comfortable. But the second time, this second go around, like everything was like, I'm like, okay, I got this one. Like, oh, it can't be this, can't be this, can't be this. It's definitely this answer.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I finished with about a half an hour left. So I went back and I looked at a few that I had marked just for review, and I maybe changed like 2 answers of the things that I had flagged, but otherwise kind of stuck with my gut instinct.
That's good. That's really, really good. I mean, the fact that you were just walking through it and you're like, hey, I've already done this before in a sense. Like we've replicated the experience in a little bit. I think that's super helpful. I'm glad that you felt that. So
Yeah.
it's pretty important. That's cool. So you
Yeah.
work projects, you said you were heavy on the monitor controlling side in a sense of what you're doing. Do you think overall, like you're looking at projects any differently now, or little tricks and things like focuses, anything you gain from like the actual content, or is it all just, I got through the PMP?
I think honestly, this has made my job a lot easier because I have some sort of additional frame of reference that I guess it didn't all like click in my brain before, but now I'm like, oh, okay, I know exactly where I am in my project. Like somebody's going to be looking for a communication, someone's going to be looking for a report. Like we've got these things coming up. So it kind of built or clarified rather that framework of how, how projects should run. So super helpful.
That's pretty good. That's awesome. All right. So cool. So there's probably people out there like you, failed before, thought they were ready, kind of did what the book said or what the course said, but realized wasn't ready, whatever.
Yep.
So for those kind of people, and if they're busy like you, and they want to be 5 above targets, which is, you beat me. So congratulations. Good job. What would you recommend? What's your like prescription for them? What should they do from like, boom, right now to get to, less than 30 days above target all across the board?
Oh man, you're asking me like, what's the secret sauce?
Yeah. Give them that. Yeah. Give it to them. Yeah.
I think what worked for me is building up my confidence with answering the questions. I think that was a critical component of just getting comfortable being uncomfortable. Because for me on exam day, I'd already spent so much time with my my cohort answering the questions on the coaching calls that it was like I didn't even stress about things as much as I would have otherwise. I was like, okay, so if I can't think of this as like, how would Liz, the project manager, do it? Then how would, somebody else who was in my group, how would they think through it? Because those different perspectives are really helpful in breaking down those questions. So I think people who are struggling, giving yourself the chance to slow down, do those questions, build some confidence, do it little bits at a time. I mean, I found like 2 to 3 hours a day where I could just shove things in to different slots of time when it worked for me. And I did, for me, the 7-day accelerator was more like a 3-week accelerator, but it worked. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm pumped that you did so well. I mean, 5 above targets is a big deal. We're excited
I
about
was
it.
shocked. I was like completely shocked. I was just happy when I pressed the button that there was like no like lapse in time before it said congratulations. I was like, oh, whew. And then it took me like 10 minutes to find my score report because I was like, oh, where do I find it? What link do I click on and all that stuff? So I was completely surprised when I saw 5 above targets, but excited. Like it's very validating.
Yeah. To work so hard and like to have it and like to bounce back, I think is important because you could have definitely taken the other decision. I mean, you probably work-wise couldn't have, you had to do it, but plenty of people just say, it's not for me. So that's good. Yeah. I know you're busy. I know you got to go. So I really appreciate the time. You did such an amazing job. I know you're super, super busy. If you want to be a coach, you can be a coach. I'd love it.
Just let me know, Scott. You're West Coast people. If you need some West Coast help.
We do need West Coast help. We do need West Coast help. You're even past West Coast, right? Yep. You're Alaska?
I'm Alaska. Yep.
Yeah, so that's awesome. Yeah, we would love it. I mean, we're starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger. You're number 76, and hopefully by the end of the year, we have 476. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But you obviously know the material really, really well and didn't have to memorize anything, right? No data dump, nothing like that?
No data dump, no writing anything down. Taking it online, you really can't do that. The way that it's formatted, you can use the whiteboard and stuff, but it doesn't necessarily like give you space to like write a whole bunch of stuff down. So I had kind of ditched that idea like a long time ago. I was like, I don't have the energy to memorize or, do things out. But I did do, as a study tool, use the evaporating data dump, which was awesome. So.
All right. So we're talking just before you go, like tell us how what it is and how it helped you.
Okay, so the evaporating data dump is kind of taking the regular data dump and flipping it on its head, and you are writing down the areas that you need to improve on. So things that, something comes up in a question or in a video, something you're like, oh, I'm kind of fuzzy on that concept. Better write it down and do some extra practice on it. So you get yourself a nice list building of things that you're not really confident about. And then slowly, as you get better and you start to build that confidence and you understand the concept, you get to cross it out, which is the best feeling ever. You're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Cost benefit analysis, cross it out.
I love it.
All
That's
the
good.
things. So
That's cool. That's cool. All right. So as you went through that, I love the fact that, the thing for me is that it looks like you just kind of went in at full bore. You're like, hey, I got a busy life. I got all this stuff, but I'm going to make time for it. And I'm going to be positive. You're always super positive, and you made it work for you. And I'm glad we were able to fulfill our side of it and help you out. So
yeah, I'm so pleased. I mean, I was up against a work deadline. So for me, I know a lot of people, it's it's something they want to do. It's a credential. It looks great. And it's something I wanted to do too, but it was also an employment requirement where I had a hard deadline. It was like, okay, you've got until the middle of September to pass this PMP exam. And I was like, okay, pressure's on. But
that's cool. I know you can't predict it in the past, but had you not done the accelerator, could you have met the deadline of middle of September and past?
I don't know, because I feel like the accelerator set me up for success. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that going through that process is what gave me the confidence to do so well. And I'm not sure that I would have achieved it on my own. I probably could have stumbled my way through, but it would not have been pretty. And I definitely would not have received 5 above targets. That's for sure. I feel like it's actually given me the knowledge instead of, memorize it or learn it for the test. I feel like I'm definitely going to be towards being a better project manager. So
that's awesome. Well, that's about as good as anybody could say it. And I'm really, really proud that we were able to help you. And hopefully we can get you going on as a coach, take a little cohort for yourself and lead them through. So Liz, I really, really appreciate it. I'm glad we met. I'm glad we were able to get you through, and I'm glad you got 5 above targets and made me look dumb because you beat me. So that's good.
No, it should make, you guys, you definitely are setting people up for success. So awesome. It's just a testament to everybody who was in my particular group and my coach for being, for caring about everybody's success and getting people through this process, because it's not easy. This is a really hard exam. So it's part of the community is what did it. So
that's cool. And you had Ein, right?
Yep.
Ian? Yep. All right. So he's the best. He's, they're all good. He's really great. So I really, really appreciate it, Liz. I hope you have a great day, and thank you for jumping on with us.